Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Guillotine podcast. We have an amazing guest today for an interview that, I'm very, very happy to have. Is Aiemann Zahabi, who's fighting Pedro Munhoz November 2nd in Edmonton for UFC Fight Night. How you doing, Aiemann?
I'm doing amazing, man. I feel great. Fantastic. I can't wait to get out there.
Oh, that's great. So let's get straight up to it. You won four in a row. You're on a roll. While your opponent lost his last two fights, do you care about that kind of dynamics? Do you believe that it has any kind of influence on the fight?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I lost two in a row, and I came back and I won by knockout in the first round. I mean, when guys are when they're down, they have nothing to lose. So a lot of the times they use it as motivation. They train ferociously, and I was just talking to Firas the other day about it, and he might come up with a totally new approach for this fight just to break the pattern. So it's going to be hard to know exactly what he's going to come out there and do. He might not play the same old game, or he sticks to what's tried and true. We don't know. So in my opinion, him losing two in a row makes it more of a question mark than if he was on a hot streak.
Definitely. I want to get back to your previous fight. You won four in a row, but I believe something kind of changed after the fight against Javid Basharat, very strong wrestler. Because this victory has an undeniable prestige and a very strong narrative. You came in as an underdog, lost the first round, but managed to reverse the momentum
Yeah.
and delivered an amazing display of heart, solid tactic, and technique in the next two amazing rounds. Would you agree that this fight is a key moment in your fighting career?
Yeah, of course. I tied the number nine largest underdog win in the UFC. I'm tied for like the number nine largest underdog win. So that's really cool. I have a couple other records now in the UFC, and not only did everybody doubt me, but it's just nice to beat someone who was undefeated after being doubted for so long. And I just feel like people think that I didn't have the skills, but really it was just I went through a little bit of a mental thing after getting KO'd, and it took me time to come back. But I've dealt with that now, and with my mindset correct and everything working properly in my head, what's in between the ears counts for a lot more. And I have tons of skills, and I haven't even shown them yet.
Talking about this specific fight and adapting in between rounds, I want to talk about your head coach, who is also your brother,
Yeah.
obviously, Firas. I love listening to him between rounds because I think he's very calm, composed, never panics, and always gives simple but relevant and efficient advice. How is it to be coached under Firas? And I'm not talking about your brother. I'm talking about
Yeah.
Coach Firas.
Yeah, no, it's great, because he's straight to the point. Usually he tells me something that's going well and something that's not going well, and then what to go out there and do. If you listen after round two, he gave me some funny advice. He told me fight with one hand down and walk forward. Get to the inside, but fight with one hand down. I was like, oh man, this is crazy advice. Let's go. But I listened and it worked, man. It worked really well, and I was able to really capitalize on pushing him to go backwards in the rounds two and three. Sorry, in round three, after round two, and in round two, I got him with a nice big punch at the end of the round, which really kind of gave me the round. So he gives great advice, and it's not always easy to just take it. Like when your coach tells you to fight with one hand down, sometimes it seems like, oh man, what are you telling me over here? But sometimes you have to believe too, right? You have to trust your coach.
Of course. We're talking about Firas, but we got to talk about Tristar. And during a local event at Samurai MMA 12, when your teammate Mendel Nano was fighting for the belt, I was next to you guys with Luis Anudakis, and being close from you guys, I could feel this very positive spirit around the cage ringside. Strong relationships between partners. How is it to train there since because you've been training there forever? How is it?
Well, what's really nice is because when you train to go for a fight, it's almost like joining the army to go to battle. So when you had battles together, you become almost like brothers. So it's like a very healthy uh, relationship all the fighters have together, and we're all going through something hard as a team. Like it's funny. I was just telling my friend today, Xavier Aloui. He came to because my brother's out of town. My brother went to go corner Alex Martinez for tonight. So Xavier Aloui came to watch my sparring because I'm putting him in my corner for my fight. So he came and he was like watching over the sparring and giving me advice. And he gave me advice during the round, and I executed what he said. And then he told me after, he's like, "Oh, you didn't see what I saw." I said, "Listen, man, sometimes I don't know. That's why I have you guys in my corner." I know it looks like I'm fighting alone, but you never really fight alone. You fight with the team. You fight with who's with you. So my coaches are there, the outside perspective to tell me, and I also have my teammates that I depend on for drilling, for sparring, for feedback, for all these other things. So one thing that's good is because we had GSP and Firas as mentors, they always taught us to be humble and to thank everybody around you because you never actually made it alone. There's tons of people who sacrificed along with you to get you to where you are.
I want to get back to your next fight, obviously, and what's next. Pedro Munhoz is a solid veteran, obviously, and though he won like only one of his last five, the man is definitely respected and rightfully. He fought the craziest fighters in the division: Cheeto, O'Malley, Cruz, Aldo, Aljo, Edgar, and more. Is his resume intimidating to you?
It's cool. He's only lost to the best guys. Like
Yeah.
he's 1-5, but those are all ex champions or like future champions. So it's super interesting. Uh, like I don't think he's ever lost to anybody who's lesser than him or not as good as him. So I'm looking to go beat him and be a part of a new group of guys who've
Yeah.
shown that they're better than Pedro. So I'm hoping that everything goes well. But the most important thing is my performance. Alex Rodriguez said something the other day was super interesting that because he had come off 3 losses and he just won last weekend, and he answered a question saying that what's interesting about the UFC is if you perform well, you can win even though you lose the fight. So no matter what happens on November 2nd, I'm gonna win. There's gonna be a win.
We got to talk about like the new rules, right?
Yeah.
November 1st, new unified MMA rules. Grounded opponent is not the same. There's not like the notion of like a weight on on your hands when you're the hands on the floor. The 12 to 6 elbows are allowed now. Do you prepare for this? Like, do you try and like make like a replicate some situations on the mat to try and adapt to this? What's the adaptation here?
No, well, we know what we would do. So like now, guys can't hang out in these situations. So
Yeah.
basically, you have to hit your escapes and your counters sooner. The counters and the escapes are the same, but now there is a level of urgency that changes the dynamic of the whole thing. So you're gonna see a lot less stalling. That's the best thing about those rules. Those rule changes really make they're gonna make the fights in the UFC higher pace. So I mean everybody now, not only UFC, but the MMA fights a much higher pace because guys can't hang out in 4 points and just stall and let the
Mhm.
clock run out. They're gonna either go to one knee or they're gonna have to bust out and escape. So basically, we always work with like against the clock in the gym to create scenarios. So that's kind of some stuff that we've done. But in terms of the elbows, there's not much you can do, man. The elbows is not much.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
what it is. Guys
Doesn't
can
change much.
sneak in some little elbows. It is what it is. We'll see how. I don't think it's going to be used that often or that crazy, but there's only one way to find out.
And we will. We got to talk about what's next as well. You are talking about like being ranked like maybe between 20 and 25 before your fight with Javid Basharat, and now you're definitely getting closer and closer to the rankings. And you have like 3 more fights on your contract. A win against the Bantamweight legend Pedro Munhoz could or should land you a
Yeah.
spot in the rankings. Because of your winning streak, you must feel confident, but how far can you go in the current best division in the UFC?
Yeah, I think I can go to the top. I think there's nothing holding me back. I feel great, man. I feel really, really good physically, mentally, skill wise. I'm up there with everybody. I think a win over Pedro, they can put me in the top 15, even without beating someone in the top 15, because they just pushed him out. Like he was in the top 15 until August, and then they just decided, no, let's take him out and we'll put in Montel Jackson. But Dominic Cruz hasn't fought since 2022, so it's weird that he's still in there. So like. Um, I don't know what Dana White's gonna do to change the rankings, like how they're chosen or whatever. But he's kind of right that it's not perfect either. Like it's not the best, it's not the worst it's ever been. But maybe some things should change. Like I don't know why Dominic Cruz is still in there if he hasn't fought in 2 years. Like you can't even keep your belt if you haven't fought in 2 years. So I don't know why they don't rotate him out. Not that I have anything against Dominic Cruz. Like I think he's when he was the champion, he was one of the best champions in
Yeah,
bantamweight history for sure. Like I give him a lot of credit, but the inactivity should go against a bit of the rankings too. Like you should slide or get kicked out. I
yeah,
don't know.
agreed.
And then where I was fortunate to have Rob Font join the team, so I got to train with the number 9 bantamweight in the world. Him too. He's only lost to the best guys. Guys are ahead of him and stuff like that. So, like, I feel like I belong in the top 15. I'm right there. It's just about doing the work. Just about getting the fights and winning.
Thank you very much for this. I got to ask you a last question. That's something I asked to all the big actors in the MMA scene in Quebec. How do you feel about like the MMA Quebec scene in 2024? Is it healthy? I can see you at events sometimes. You corner other fighters. How do you feel about MMA in Quebec in 2024?
I feel like it's finally making a comeback. Jiu-Jitsu was banned for a long time. MMA got banned for a while. And it was very awkward for a long time, MMA in Quebec, and there were no promotions, people putting on shows or anything. But now we got Samurai who's doing the work, giving opportunity to fighters to compete. And they're starting to become very consistent. And now they're going to be another on Fight Pass as well. So I'm happy so that the young fighters have a place to get experience, to eventually make it to the UFC. Whereas it's already hard. Listen, it's already hard to go from 0 fights to 5 fights. That's hell. Okay, it's very, very hard to get matched. And we need more promotions. Like, I'm so happy that there's Samurai, but I think we need even more. I feel like,
Mm.
hopefully somebody else creates another promotion, and people should go out and support these promotions and watch and buy tickets and spend money so that we can continue to build fighters, because Quebec is a fight province, man. They have fighters. We're very talented in this kind of sport, and it shouldn't be something that people look down on. It should be something people celebrate, and we can really make our name for a name for ourselves on the world stage.
I love it. I love it, Aiemann. Thank you so much for your time. I wish you the best as a fighter, but I wish you the best as an analyst for SportsCenter as well. And congratulations on your achievement for reaching 500 subscribers on your YouTube channel. Everyone subscribes on Aimann's channel. I'm gonna put it here in the description. Congratulations! Can't wait to see you fight again in Edmonton. Have a great fight camp. Bye, Aiemann. Thank you.
Thank you so much, man. Great to be on the show.
Hey, I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.